Okay, guys, let's ask one question, or maybe more than one question, for each Eastern Conference team. I'm going to try to have all these be stuff that I haven't talked about too much this offseason already, but it can be tough to avoid sometimes. And if any of these are too niche, my bad. Anyway, we're going to go right to my Celtics. So I've hammered on enough about the front court. Let's just talk about Jaylen Brown as a number one option. I get it. This is not the long-term plan. We all know that, but with no Tatum, let's see if Jaylen can make a real jump as a playmaker this year. He made one in the regular season, and then in the playoffs, really in round 2 against the Knicks, it was all over the place. Like game 2, he had 6 turnovers, and then in game 5, he had 12 assists. He's improved as a ball handler over the years, no doubt about it. But even so, I think in that round 2, when the Knicks just brought double teams on him sometimes, like after he made his initial move, he just got overwhelmed, he didn't know what to do, he was losing the ball, all that stuff. And so for a season now in which there's one ball handler off the board for him to share some duties with, sure, you got Pritchard, you got Simons, you got D. White, and you got him, but usually the Celtics have had one more guy than that, and the floor's not going to be as spaced as it's been for them in the past couple of years as well. No Porzingis, no Horford. And so even as Jaylen has improved as a ball handler over the years, it's still like sometimes the handle is not sharp enough for him to take advantage of every possible opportunity he has. Like he has the angle on a defender or whatever. And so I do wonder if just more simple pick and rolls are going to be in play for Jaylen. But, you know, the Celtics, they've always tried to balance him like moving off the ball a little bit before getting some sort of a screen or a DHO, you know. And even as he has gotten better on the handle, it's not as if Jaylen is ever going to be able to read a defense the way that a lot of playmakers can. I'm just asking to be able to beat teams more often when the guy in the opposite corner is open, that type of stuff. So we'll see. I mean, they're going to have a ball handler by committee thing. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Jaylen didn't lead the team in touches or time of possession per game, but he's going to have to do more of that with Tatum out. So we'll see. I went nearly 2 minutes on the Celtics. I swear they're not all going to be this long. Next up, let's go to the Cavs. I kind of have two questions here. One is still the perimeter defense specifically for the playoffs. I'll say that again, specifically for the playoffs. Regular season, they will be great defensively again, and mostly just against Jalen Brunson. No, you know what? I'm not going to act like it's a certainty that we get a Cavs-Knicks conference finals. We should, but it's not a guarantee. So it's also for Trey. It's for Maxey, if there is any world where Philly is healthy. Sure, the Magic don't have a star point guard, but Bane is a guard. Paulo and Franz handle it on the perimeter. You can only put Mobley on one of those guys. I know, they have Lonzo, but we're going to see if Lonzo can be healthy the whole season. We'd all love to see it. And also, I like Lonzo a lot, but like you're still going to have guys that certain star players are not going to feel too bad going out in a 1v1. I mean, they had Max Strus guarding Halliburton, dude. At least for some of those minutes. And he was fighting, don't get me wrong. Also, I just saw the Max Strus news. That's tough to hear. He'll be back in like December, January. Yeah, DeAndre Hunter's fine against wings. Mitchell and Garland are going to fight the most that they can defensively, but that's what it is. Hey, it's a credit to the Cavs that the question's about the playoffs. Regular season, they're going to win like 60 games again. I think the only other question I had was like, is there anything else left for Kenny Atkinson to do to this offense? Or is it just like, hey man, you already solved it. You know, more pace, encouraging Mobley to do more on the ball, all that stuff. Next up, as we're here, let's go to the Knicks. I'm still thinking about the bench. But in theory, look, we got Mitch, who just changes everything when he's in the game. Will have nightmares about Mitch for that round 2 series forever. We got Deuce, who's going to play defense and shoot threes. Yabusele's going to shoot threes and just be a big body everywhere and switch across 3s, 4s, and 5s. Don't get me wrong, he's not like competing for an all-defense team, but he's a big dude. And hey, from what it felt like at times this past season, like having 8 guys that you feel okay about, cool. And then after that, I'm wondering, like, can Clarkson still swing a playoff game and just go off for 25 randomly? Does Mike Brown trust Tyler Kolek at all to be a reliable ball handler? Because Tibbs, at least playoff-wise, was just not going to entertain the idea at all. Does Dadier show anything? He was their draft pick last year. I don't know, man. Next, we're going to go to the Bucks. This is going to be the shortest one, maybe. The only question I can really find is Kuzma, and if Bucks fans will hate him by the end of the season. The only other question I have is, could the Bucks pull off some sort of heist of a deal where they just basically move contracts and get somebody who can score for them, like kind of their own version of the Norm Powell trade? Now for the Pistons. So in my desperate attempt to not just have it be things I've said already this offseason, at least not too much, let's just wonder what year 5 Cade looks like. Is he able to get the turnovers down a little bit? Can he perhaps get the free throw attempts up a little bit more? I mean, I do think a lot of last season was just putting an actual team around him with an NBA level amount of spacing. And yeah, they got some shooters out the door. Beasley might come back. I don't know. They have a roster spot open. But Ivy has been good off the catch. There's some questions about him and Cade minutes, but Ivy's been good off the catch. Duncan Robinson, we know what he does. And this past year, I mean, Cade, his mid-range attempts went down and his shots in the paint went up. And I think a lot of that was because of the floor just being a little more spaced out. And so I think what is really going to determine if Cade's efficiency goes to another level is just becoming great at floaters and just like off-balance layups and all that stuff. And the template for that sort of thing, his body type, how fast he is, all that, it would be Luka. Now, I'm not expecting him to be Luka, but Luka has shot like 70% at the rim for years now. That's a number that Cade has to get at least a little close to. This past year, he was at like 58% on that stuff. Let's go to Miami. Just wondering if any of the young guys are going to make some sort of a jump this year. I mean, Jovic just went off in the first Euro basket game. Hey, in theory, Jovic is just this skilled big guy who can shoot and make stuff happen off the dribble, right? Khalil Ware, I mean, we all know about the BAM. Khalil Ware, front court experiment this past season. Look, man, Spo had a quote like a month ago. I'm going to paraphrase, but he basically just said Khalil Ware needs to be more serious. Because in theory, he can also be a big who just does a lot. Shoot threes on one end, on the other end, block shots. But it's the boring stuff, right? It's the defensive plays that don't show up in the stat sheet. It's screen setting. It's keeping the motor up the whole game, all that stuff. The Jaquez, I mean, look, we all loved Jaquez as a rookie, but he's a wing who relies on scoring within the three-point line. It doesn't mean you can't do it, but you got to be really, really good at overpowering NBA defenders to do that stuff. And then Yakashonis, I mean, this team is desperate for any sort of point guard who can run a screen up top and then make plays for other guys. I get it. They got Powell for free, so you do the deal, but they still need that type of guy. So that's it. Let's go to Philly. The obvious, of course, PG and Embiid health. We're not doing that. I wonder, because I'm assuming PG and Embiid are going to miss some games, but let's just operate in a world where it's not a total disaster this season, okay? How much scoring can we expect from Quentin Grimes and Jared McCain? Now, he is currently a restricted free agent. I don't know. Let's just see. I'd like to believe that they can agree on a deal, because we saw the buckets he was getting when they needed somebody to shoot the ball at the tail end of last season. And also, even when Grimes was just the role player for the Knicks, which, yeah, if everybody's healthy, he's going to go back to that. But, he had this, driving off the catch thing where whether it was his anticipation or his speed while doing it, on top of being a good three-point shooter, I'm like, there's more here than just him taking wide-open shots all day. And then, of course, we saw Jared McCain go on an insane, 8-game stretch as a scorer of any kind, off the catch, off the dribble. And also to go back to Grimes, he was getting a lot of free throw attempts throughout that stretch as well. For the Bulls, I'm going to go with Buzelis. The guy had a stretch at the end of the year, man. He ended up starting 30 games. He was making threes, and there's some confident threes in there, not just wide open ones. He's trying to get physical on some drives. We've got him flying in transition. All the potential is like a weak side shot blocker dude. The confidence of it all. Sure, he's not going to be the number one option right now. Also, like some of his cuts off of Vooch's post-ups. You just got to give Buzelis the green light, man. I'm not saying, again, he's not taking the most shots in the team, but you know what I'm saying. Now for the Nets. So I believe the Cam Thomas situation is going to resolve itself in some way. Just more all-around game improvement around the bucket getting. I mean, what is a goal for Cam's assist to turnovers? 4 assists to a little under 2 turnovers? Is that fair? Yeah, that's not a guy you want running the offense, but we just got to be realistic about who Cam is here. And for what it's worth, he wasn't that far away from that in his shortened season he just had. We'll see how much MPJ and the rookies can help him out. Now let's go to the Magic. So I think I've said about everything that I want to say about the starting 5 this offseason, so I'm going to go to the bench. And I think Tyus is back in his proper role, so it's more so everybody else. Look, Anthony Black, he's a very smart player on both sides of the floor, and his defensive potential is pretty damn high. But also, the dude can't shoot. And we're going into year 3 where the pressure is just on everybody more now after trading a bunch of picks and giving everybody extensions. I mean, Mo Wagner has been very important for these guys, but he tore his ACL in December, so he will be back this season, but it's not going to be right away. And will he be peak Mo Wagner right when he comes back? Jonathan Isaac, I mean, we all get it. His per-minute defensive stuff, while it wasn't as good as it was 2 seasons ago, it's still impressive. You look at his per 36 and the blocks and everything, it goes crazy. But there's shooting questions with him, and also the dude has just only played about 15 minutes a game for 2 years now. De Silva was good for them as a rookie, and he was a good shooter his last 3 years of college, so I think you can be a little more optimistic than the 33% from 3 he was this past season, but still, he's got to make a bit of a jump there. We'll just see with these guys. I mean, there's not a whole lot of assets left, and to be clear, I don't think the Magic should be trying to shop their young guys. The pressure is on, and we'll see how it goes. Now for Atlanta, my question is, what is their best lineup? They've got a lot of options here. Nikhil is a terror on the ball. I do wonder if him and Dyson on the court together just ends up being the best version of this team. And if that's the case, then maybe those two just have to be on the court together in crunch time situations. Of course, Porzingis is going to miss games, but I'm guessing we're going to see some minutes of Porzingis and Okongwu together. What if those lineups end up being really good? But, of course, we all like Reese Shea after his rookie season. Jalen Johnson's got a really good two-man game with Trey. I don't know. You got a lot of options. We'll see what Quinn Snyder ends up doing. These guys are all going to play a lot, and the starting lineup doesn't have to be the closing lineup. Now let's go to the Pacers. I think it's going to be the center situation for me, because I've talked enough about Mathurin and Nembhard with Halliburton being gone for a year here. We got three-point shooting, reverse dunking Jay Huff, who quietly had some insane block numbers like on a per-minute basis last year. We got Isaiah Jackson, we got Tony Bradley, who gave him solid minutes in the playoffs. You're going to get some Siakam small ball five and all that. I'm just wondering, do any of these centers make them say, okay, we're good enough at the five for when Halliburton comes back, or do they start looking around where, look, man, they actually do have all of their own future firsts again after the Siakam trade. They do also have some tradable contracts. They don't have like a $20 million guy who you just throw into a trade, no question, but they've got some smaller tradable deals. I think for as much as Pacer fans would love for Jarris Walker to be a long-term rotation guy, if it does come to a point where you're like, if we move him, then we can get a center who's ready to hopefully take us on another finals run with our starting five that's just amazing when Halliburton's healthy, I think you got to consider that stuff, man. But we'll see. Again, they can't trade for like a super duper expensive five unless you want to start talking about moving like Obi or TJ, and that just feels cruel to suggest after the finals run. But we'll see with the center spot. Speaking of the center spot, my question for the Hornets is Diabate the secret savior of this whole thing if LaMelo can be healthy? I'm doing too much by using the word savior for a guy who was a second-round pick entering his fourth year, but there was something with Diabate last year, man, where like him and LaMelo together, they played, I think, 40 games. They actually had a positive net rating together. To be fair, it was 0.6, but hey, we'll take it. The Hornets' defense was better when Diabate was on the court, and he's got just these little moments on offense where he'll like put the ball on the floor for one dribble and then finish, or when he dunks it off of a pick and roll, it's like he's not just right under the basket. Like he can cover some distance. His per-minute rebound numbers are good, really good, actually. There's a chance he just caps out as like a solid rotation big, but Hornets fans, I'm trying here. Now for the Raptors, I might be cheating on this one because it's two players, but I feel like they play, if not the same position, then there's position overlap between them at least. RJ as well as Grady Dick. So as far as RJ goes, he doesn't have much time left in his deal. Ingram has a new contract. Scotty is the most important guy in the building. And we all know all three of those guys want to score from within the three-point line. It's been talked about enough this offseason. Even if RJ and Ingram can shoot threes, right? And so besides just wondering how that looks, which that's the obvious question with this team, it does also just make me wonder if RJ is going to be on the team in a couple years. I will say the convos around RJ versus his actual box score numbers are not one-to-one. Like the dude averages like 21, 6, and 5. The efficiency is not good, I know, but it is still kind of funny when I look at it. And then as far as Grady, it feels like this is the season where Grady Dick needs to finally shoot like 40% from three and making just some obscenely tough ones from, a foot or two behind the line and making just crazy tough ones and all that. Now, I do think the Raptors have asked him to do a lot as an off-ball guy. Like, he's flying around off screens like a madman a lot of the time. I mean, it's not as if all of his threes are just open catch and shoots, and the team dealt with injuries last year. So, with more talented guys who can create some more stuff for him, that can get him some easier looks. But he is going to have to just be really, really good at making tough threes and having the stamina for that for the whole season and all that. And if getting a little stronger to open up some more stuff for him inside can help, then okay, yeah, that's nice. We'll see. He will be extension eligible after this season. And now finally, the Wizards. It's Alex Sarr. So late last season in April, Sarr had a game against the Pacers where he had some buckets against Miles Turner and Thomas Bryant, whether it was as a ball handler or as a screen setter. He even got physical around the rim a couple times. Like, this is intriguing. And then 2 games later, he goes 3 for 15 against the Hornets. And then I remember his first Summer League game against Malawach. I mean, his stat line by the end of the game was good, but the first half especially, he was having a tough time scoring on Malawach in one-on-ones. And so as we enter year 2 of Alex Sarr, I don't know what it's going to be game to game. He might go nuts from 3 one game. He might go 1 for 7 the next game. But if it all hits, I don't know if it will, but if it all does, then Alex Sarr, he really can be like a do-it-all big guy. Like defensively, protect the basket, switch, shoot, put the ball on the floor, and we'll just see what the progress is for year 2.